What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush, Let's Talk Jets. Hope everybody's had an excellent weekend. The NFL draft is come and gone, and now you look at what the New York Jets did and try to assess it and evaluate it. I'm not going to give it a grade, but you want to see, what's the potential of it? And it's so interesting to see, the analysis and, fire Muji and Glenn, they're clueless, or some people calling it a slam dunk. And these are all lottery tickets, man. We literally have no idea what's going to happen. So many times last year, we evaluated a player, Malachi Corley, Yak King, going to be great. Elijah Moore, we have these great expectations and are completely let down. Then there's players we have no expectations for, and they take off and do very well. So you don't really know, but you look at what holes the Jets have coming into this, how they address it, what did they have going forward. For me, primarily, I was all about the offense. First spot was offensive line, which you build a solid, stout offensive line. You're going to put Justin Fields in the best position to succeed. They went out and did that. They got Membu, which I loved. The second piece was find a tight end. A lot of people wanted Tyler Warren, but if you don't get Tyler Warren, what's your plan B? And I thought they did really well. Mason Taylor, a very good tight end, great athlete, good pass catcher, good after the catch, decent blocker. So you're looking at your offense now. You have your tight end threat, hopefully. You have, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall coming out of backfield, Braylon Allen. You have pieces to the puzzle that they can open up things and improve. At wide receiver, they added Arian Smith, a guy that you see the elite speed, which is awesome. The Jets have not had that in forever or actually utilized it. But then you see the drops. But then you see John Gruden's video saying he's the sleeper of the draft and he has a lot of things. The one thing I liked is how Aaron Glenn talked about his work ethic, his commitment to get better, and that how he had the same experience with Jameson Williams. Obviously a much better talent or much better prospect, but he saw the speed. Jameson Williams had drop problems, but the kid worked his ass off to improve, and he has a feeling that Smith's going to do the same thing. I think with a lot of these players, they have potential. You're only going to be as good as the coaching, and that's where the Jets have failed over the last, 4 or 5 years, maybe longer, where they weren't well coached, technique was bad, lack of discipline, lack of accountability, and your attention to detail wasn't there, where then if you bring this in here and you have that more not hardcore mindset, that more diligent mindset, accountability, push, you add that pressure and you got to earn every rep, you may bring out the best of people. I see with my fighters, man. Some guys, with the harder you push them, the better they get. If they know they can't do certain things, they don't do them and they improve. So you look at the offense, there's a lot of pieces there. I'd still say there's more moves to be made. Wide receiver group still kind of bothers me. But you can, maybe they call the Packers. The Packers had a great draft where their wide receiver room is loaded. Maybe try to make a move there. There's still some free agents out there. So the one thing I always try to remember is we're only not even in May yet. We have to get to August before you start really assessing the roster. You have your undrafted free agents with some interesting names there. You have more free agent moves. Then you have training camp cuts, all kinds of stuff. So this isn't your final roster. It's a work in progress. The other thing we don't know is this regime's only been here a few months. They have to kind of evaluate and assess what they have and how they feel these guys on the current roster fit in their scheme. And then you got to see it actually on the field to make your changes. When you have your mini camps and your training camp and everything else. Okay, listen, I thought this player was this. He's not. We got to move on. Or he's better than, there's some young players that, say Leonard Taylor, you have McGregor and Watson, all these young guys where maybe it's we had high hopes from last year. Maybe with better coaching, they can fill in some of the holes that we think the Jets have. So on offense, I'm comfortable where they're at right now in terms of adding playmakers. Defensively, my biggest concern, I'm sure with many Jet fans, is being able to stop the run. Now, I always thought Saleh's defense, even with Ulbrich, was kind of stubborn. They're stubborn. They're kind of set in their ways, and this is our scheme. We're not going to change it. You know it's coming, but we're still going to beat you. Where I'm hoping Wilkes and Glenn are a little bit different, and they have adjustments, and they adapt to the skill set of their players, and they know how to stop things and figure out, okay, listen, the run defense is going to be a problem. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. So we'll see. They didn't add the defensive tackle, but they drastically added pieces to the secondary, which is really interesting, where you think you have Sauce, Michael Carter second. You paid big money to Brandon Stevens. You think the corners are set. They go out and get A.Z. Thomas, a very good press corner, which so your initial instinct was, well, then you're going to move Brandon Stevens to safety. That was the thing. Then they draft Malachi Moore. You're like, well, he's a safety kind of nickel. So they keep adding pieces to the secondary where if you're Tony Adams, you got to be concerned because I think there's more and more of a chance he's going to see less playing time. But it's going to be very interesting to see how they deploy them. And the more pieces of the puzzle, the better. And the other thing I guess we got to keep in mind is we can't keep focusing on this year. I mean, obviously you want to win this year, but you're getting pieces for this year and developmental pieces for the year to come. When you have the draft, it's not instant fixes. It's you got to find special teams guys, and you got to find players that may be decent now, but 3 years from now you're good. And the Jets have failed for that. When you bomb out in rounds 4 to 7 or all these later picks, you have no depth, and then you have a top-heavy roster that cannot endure injuries. Once the injuries start, you bring on guys off the street, and the losing begins. So you have to have an overall quality roster, and these later picks, you have to hope that these high-character guys, these team captains, they have the work ethic, that they will, with good coaching, become impact players in 2 to 3 years. And that's how you kind of keep recycling your roster and don't have to rely on free agency to do well with it. So, Malachi Moore is interesting. A.Z. Thomas. The later guys, the 2 guys from Miami, you have a linebacker and an edge rusher. I can't give you an honest assessment. I have no idea, man. Like, I know what Aaron Glenn's told us. I watched what Connor Rogers writes, and even Dom. I watch all their assessments, but it's they're all pieces of the puzzle that you hope can contribute in some way, even if it's special teams, which is a huge part. If you look at how Bill Parcells put a premium on his team, it was offense, defense, but he always says there's a lot of hidden yards in special teams. There's points in special teams if you play it well. So, Aaron Glenn follows that mantra as well. So, it's an interesting draft class. I'm not giving you grades. I'm not going to overreact. I really like that they addressed offensive line, tight end. There's a lot, and the wide receiver having game-breaking speed is great. The pieces of the puzzle on defense, I'm not going to say I have blind faith in Aaron Glenn. I just think that Aaron Glenn, being a former scout, knows exactly what he wants out of his players and how it's going to fit his defense. And then you have the expertise of Steve Wilks as well. So I kind of have more confidence there. They know what their plug and play guys are. They know what their fit is. I do like they're looking at leadership guys, tenacious guys that love the game of football. I know Judd Douglas always said that, but if you have guys that love the game of football and you give them tough coaching and that tough love and that different kind of mindset and culture, I think you get better value. I think Joe Douglas had that, but Robert Saleh didn't implore it. He didn't bring it out, like that different sense of urgency, that different sense of just, we got to push and keep pushing until we get where we want. So it's interesting. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know, man. I just don't see why everybody's there's a portion of this fan base that just wants to say they were right, that Aaron Glenn was the wrong decision, or just say they're happy saying it's the same old Jets. That's their mantra. I can't believe they did this. I can't believe they did that. And that to me is boring. Like, we're fans, man. I want to see this team succeed, and it's very easy. There's 2 ways looking at a prospect. You could say Aaron Smith drops way too many passes, he's going to suck, or you say he's got game-breaking speed. If he cleans that up, he could be a legit threat in this offense. So it's a matter of perspective. I don't know. I'm just trying to enjoy it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens at undrafted free agents. I'm curious to see if they make free agent moves, especially at wide receiver, and I'll talk to you guys later.